By now, you've probably heard of Michael Cohen, the guy who paid porn star Stormy Daniels $130,000 to keep quiet about her alleged affair with Donald Trump. For more than a decade, Cohen has been Trump's personal lawyer and one of his most dedicated defenders.
But you guys are down, and it makes sense that there would...
Says
polls,
who?
most of them. All of them?
Says who?
Polls.
I'll do anything to protect Mr. Trump, the family, now Vice President-elect Pence. I've never come across a situation where Mr. Trump has said something that's not accurate.
There are... seriously?
Yes, seriously.
Yeah, so Cohen's not your run-of-the-mill court kind of lawyer. He's more the guy sent in to strong-arm a deal. And he's allegedly paid off women romantically tied to Trump. He's been accused of taking big payments from major corporations for access to the president. And now he's been linked to one of Russia's richest oligarchs. A company linked to this man, Viktor Vekselberg, wrote a $500,000 check to Cohen. Vekselberg is not only close to Vladimir Putin and Trump, he was even at Trump's inauguration. And now it's being reported that the FBI flagged him as a possible Russian intelligence operative back in 2014. We don't know why Cohen was paid, but if Vekselberg is indeed a Russian spy, the backroom payment could prove to be a crucial hard money link between Trump and the Kremlin. FBI investigators are combing through a massive haul of evidence seized in a recent raid of Cohen's office for proof. The evidence, which included audio recordings, could be the undoing of Trump. I'm joined by someone who knows a lot about being a White House lawyer. Richard Painter is the former chief ethics lawyer for George W. Bush and a current candidate for the U.S. Senate. He's in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So, Richard, during your time in the White House, I'm sure you heard a lot of stories about money and influence and even perhaps trying to buy influence, but this does seem a bit extraordinary. How different is this administration in terms of ethics?
This is quite extraordinary, where the lawyer for the President of the United States is basically operating as a bagman, collecting all this money from corporations all over the world that want to get an audience with the president to somehow get the president's ear on something. And I don't know what happens to this money and where it goes. That's what Bob Mueller's going to find out. That's what the United States House and Senate would be finding out if they were doing their job, but they don't seem to care to do that. This is really quite extraordinary. I've never seen a president with a personal attorney who's collecting cash this way and then dispensing it to cover up sex scandals.
We know that the FBI had been investigating this fellow, Viktor Vekselberg, back to 2014. So the Russian link sounds interesting. I mean, is this a further suggestion that Putin has been influencing Trump? Is it possible that this will lead to more incriminations in the Mueller investigation?
Yes, it's certainly possible. I mean, there are a lot of Russians, and very rich Russians with connections to Vladimir Putin, who have been hanging around with Donald Trump and various campaign officials, high-up campaign officials, going back to that Trump Tower meeting in June of the election year, and several other contacts, and we keep discovering new ones. And then the White House insists there was no collusion, which increasingly people are thinking that's just absolute rubbish.
Is Stormy Daniels going to be the one with her lawyer that ends up bringing down the president? I mean, some people are saying, Time is reporting, the people in the White House are saying that the investigation into Cohen could reveal more, be more threatening to Trump than the Mueller investigation. Is that possible?
Well, if there's Russian money going into Cohen, I think that Bob Mueller is going to pick up on that part of it because that's critically important. I think that Americans are mostly concerned about the Russian influence on the election on the president, but we are also concerned about the payoffs from other companies, big drug companies, Novartis, AT&T, the others, because that's a potential for corruption too, just outright bribery if there's official action in exchange for that cash. So this is tangentially related to Stormy Daniels. We got into it because of the Stormy Daniels payoff from Michael Cohen, but once we looked into it, apparently there's a lot more there than just the payoff to Stormy Daniels.
You once called the Trump White House a banana republic. Is that ringing any bells now with the revelations about Cohen?
Well, they're certainly trying to turn our country into a banana republic. This is something that all these consultants who are hired for purpose of bribery, that's something we always were on the lookout for when I help companies try to comply with the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. And now what's going on in our own country? We have the President of the United States who has his lawyer acting as such a consultant, who's receiving money from foreign corporations, domestic corporations, and everyone else. Once again, we don't know where all the money went other than the $130,000 that went to Stormy Daniels. But this really does make our country look like a banana republic, that's for sure.
So much to watch for. Yet another chapter. Thanks so much, Richard Painter. Thank you.
Thank you.